Took her out to dinner that night, gave her $600 in dinner.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Hey guys, hi, Bryson here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. And today we're going to be reacting to Anthony O'Neal. If you guys don't know, this guy is one of the Dave Ramsey's personalities. And this video is all about, if you don't change this, you're gonna stay broke forever. And I want to find out what these things actually are. And by the way, guys, whenever I'm reacting to something, I'm watching it 99.99999% of the time with you for the first time. So it's not like I'll react by myself. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna react with you guys. No, usually it's organic. We react together. Okay, so just so you guys know, for transparency. Now, if you guys are new here, subscribe, join the channel, join the squad, long-term team for the win. And on top of that, also, if you've been here for a while, you already know, smash the like button. It helps a lot. It grows the channel. And that's how this channel is going to continue actually staying alive, okay? So without further ado, though, let's find out exactly what are the things that if you don't stop doing are gonna keep you broke. Let's find out.
As far as the mindset concerned, if you don't restructure that foundation,
I don't know who this lady is. Very professional, though.
It's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
Whatever else you do.
Yeah.
So that's why you see people who go to the workshops and who do the planners and they do them for like 2 weeks and then they fall off.
Yeah.
So the very first thing that I do with women is we go through their relationship with money.
Let's go.
Like, where did it start?
By the way, this is a great topic. Started off right off the bat with no context whatsoever. I'm guessing it's like pulling clips and so on. But what this reminds me of is when people try to tell me, I need more money, I need a new job, I just need more cash, whatever, right? And it's like, before that, you probably made less money, had the same problem, probably made a little bit more money, still have the same problem. You know, money is a great tool, don't get me wrong here, but it does nothing. Like, it's all in the beholder, right? So if you have money, you have to do what you got to do with the money. A lot of people have a lot of problems with the way and the system that you use for money. And a lot of it comes from emotional. You know, for a long time, guys, you guys don't know this, I was afraid to spend money because how my mom raised me was basically very scarcity mindset. Be very careful.
All right. What was the language in which your parents talked to you about money?
Oh, there you go. Language, money, parents.
What's the language in your household with money? And if you have children, how are you talking to them about money? Was money the subject of arguments in your household? You know, were you taught, as long as you have a roof
Wow, the quality for this video is very nice, I must say.
over your head, clothes in your back, and food in your stomach, don't worry about it. Because what happens is it creates a cycle to where we're not worried. We don't have any value attached to anything.
Yeah.
So by the time we're adults, most of us, our age, became adults in debt. So our first...
That is very true. 99% of people, well, I shouldn't say 99, more like 80%, you know, whether it's credit card debt, student loan debt, car loan, everything possible. People just basically borrow money to actually get.
Relationship with money was already in a negative position.
Absolutely.
So by the time we're trying to fight and really create sustainable life for ourselves, we're already swinging with a bat that's not going to hit anything.
Absolutely.
Honestly, what this sounds like, by the time you want to play offense, all you can do is play defense because you kind of messed up so far. It's like running a race and you're trying to keep up with everybody else, but for the past few years, you forgot it was a race. You actually were not running. You were just walking and everyone else is so far ahead, right? And you're like, I want to come up to them or whatever, but it's your own race, you know? Go at your own pace. You made mistakes, play defense, then you're able to play offense. Defense, by the way, means pay off your debts, save for emergencies, and get a budget. You know, that's the defense part.
Absolutely.
So the very first thing that we do is we really dig deep into what that relationship is and really get an understanding, because most people don't think that you can have a relationship with money. They think money is just there and is there to be earned. But absolutely you have a relationship with money. And
yeah, you do.
It can affect you emotionally, physically, psychologically, on all playing fields.
If you don't believe it, look at somebody that doesn't have any money or is about to lose their job. You ever seen somebody like that? How intensely stressed they look? How crazy they could become? Money's very important.
Yo, Raquel, you said something that's so true. Your relationship with money. The first time we encountered money as an adult was debt.
Yeah.
Very true for, kinda. For me, no, I can't say it for me. Because I was working by age 12. I had at least like one legit job by age 12 that actually made me money. And it wasn't like debt. But for most people, yes.
We don't encounter relationships with money from joy, from peace, from freedom, from options, from wealth. this generation, our generation, y'all's generation watching and listening right now, the majority of us encountered it with student loan debt.
Correct.
With car loan debt.
Mm-hmm.
What I mentioned. By the way, a lot of this stuff has to do with parents, but then you can't blame your parents because their parents were the same way. So it's like it's one of those things like once you find out you got a problem, you fix it. It makes no sense trying to figure out like, oh, it's my parents' fault. Oh, it's their parents' fault. Like once you got a problem, you recognize, again, like Rochelle said, the language you're speaking, your language your parents spoke, and then you kind of just fix it. But there's no use in blaming anybody for it.
Mm-hmm.
With credit card debt, none of us were saying, all right, here's $100,000 and go win, son. Go win, daughter.
Right.
And like go buy a house. Go and do something and build something. And it's so.
What do you guys think about that? Like giving your kids so much money. Like I'm a big fan of the 529 account and leaving, for example, an inheritance. I'm not a big fan of giving kids, for example, everything. You want to give your kids enough money to do anything, but not everything.
So funny when you said that. It reminded me of something that I'm doing for myself. And people get tired of me when I'm talking about my single state. It is what it is. It's my show. God bless y'all.
His business.
Oh, because he's still single, Anthony O'Neill. He needs to read some books on dating, man. I think he probably is. There's a great book by the same guy that made the book Boundaries. It's on boundaries and dating. A lot of people that are single and, maybe they have, for example, way too many standards, not recognizing that they're just not going to find a perfect person. Like, you should have certain rules and so on. I don't know how old he is anyways. If he's in his 40s, probably he's like on a deadline. If he's in his 30s, then he should be fine.
But it's like, for me, it's like, man, when I hear you say that, that's why if you come into my home office, you see a letter to my kids. Like I did a personal contract myself that I'm going to pay for all their college, as long as it's in-state. I don't do out-of-state. No out-of-state. So, in-state. Then number 2 is when they get married, I'm buying their first house.
Interesting. I'm not doing none of that stuff. You crazy? No. I like partnerships. I like partnerships with kids, but not partnerships in the sense that, hey, here's this money and now I'm tangled to you, because that's basically like free money but with strings attached. I like the idea of I'll teach you how to go to college for free. Well, by basically getting yourself a job, applying for a lot of scholarships, and doing the whole system, right? I'll help you with some money, but the rest of the money, you got to figure out a way to actually earn it yourself, and you got to graduate debt free. You know what I mean? That's the whole idea. One thing I've learned, guys, is, and you guys probably agree with this too, is that if you ever got given anything for free, you kind of don't appreciate it that much. You know what I mean? You just don't appreciate it that much. But when you get something and you had to put like your sweat and tears into it, like when I bought my first video game, right? My first little disc, it was like for PS2 or whatever it was. I appreciate it so much. When my mom bought me countless games or whatever, I was like, I don't really care about anything. But when you put your heart and soul into something and you work and it's like your sweat and your blood, it's just different. So helping versus you also putting things towards it, that's the type of relationship I want to make. If you want to buy a home and you're like, Dad, I need your help. No, why you don't buy a home until you're ready to buy it on your own. I don't like creating dependency in anything. I hate the idea of dependency, because dependency sounds great. I want to help my kids with everything. But what happens if you're gone, right? Then what do they do then? I'll teach you. I remember this story in The Richest Man in Babylon, and it's about the richest man in Babylon. And the son is given 2 bags of gold, and he has to go into the world and make a name for himself in order to inherit his dad's fortune. So he goes into the world with 2 bags of gold and also a tablet with the rules of gold. Let's just say for the first year, he ignored the tablet completely and lost all the money. And then he had to start off on his own, making his own money. And then he started reading the tablet. And the tablet said, hey, be careful with money. Follow the rules of money. Save your money. Invest your money. Do everything correctly. If you had to follow the rules first, he would have done just great. And then he came back to his father 10 years later, I think, and brought him 2 bags of gold and 4 bags of gold for the knowledge that he actually got from the tablets. Meaning he became a very respected man, right? But it was all because of the knowledge. People don't really appreciate that much. It's just human nature, what they get for free. Put in something that's why, when example, we were joining a sorority or like one of those groups in college, They make you go through all those challenges, because going through all those challenges to get something makes you more attached to it. It's not my opinion, it's human psychology. So all this free stuff, O'Neal, I don't agree with it.
I'm gonna have a budget with me and my wife, and I'm already buying her house. I'm already saving for it. I'm not saving for it as aggressively right now because I'm trying to build my dream home. But I already have a savings account that is literally going towards It's not a savings account, it's actually a mutual fund that is going to be going towards just my kids' first house. Because the first time they're exposed to money, I want it to be in a wealth format. I want that to be in a legacy format.
Interesting.
Not in a, all right, son and daughter, you gotta take out student loans so you can go to college.
Right.
And I don't want that. So it's like,
I like hard work, man. I like hard work. I think a lot of the times parents try to remove adversity from their kids, and not remembering like the adversity that you went through in a way kind of shaped you and created you. I don't like too many handouts. Help and handouts are two very different things.
it's like when I hear you say that, I'm like, yo,
A house, your first house is a
you
big
just
thing.
reminded me of why I'm going so hard.
And it's so like, oh gosh, I love talking about kids and money. So there's two folds.
Okay.
You have the fold to where, and like Robert Kiyosaki, and I love this quote. And
I hate Robert Kiyosaki, not physically, but I don't hate. What am I saying? I don't like, for example, when people use Robert Kiyosaki as much, because a lot of Robert Kiyosaki is a lot of debt, and he went bankrupt a few times. I used to love Robert Kiyosaki when I was first learning about finance, but I use his tactic. I made a lot of money, but I was heading towards a field where it was not gonna go that great for me. I was building like a house of cards, not that great.
And when I was a banker, I used to airdrop this to people. He would say, one of the issues with the subject of money is that it's taught at home and not in the schools. So what can a poor parent teach their child about money? And people...
That's interesting. I think I'm talking a lot in this video. I like this video. I like this topic. I feel like I'm being interviewed. I think, there's a lot of poor teachers too. So it's kind of like certain things you should be taught in the home through example. Like your parents teach you values, your parents teach you how to be a man or a woman, your parents teach you about the Lord, whatever it is, right? And then the world kind of reinforces what your parents are actually teaching you. But to expect like schools and everything to teach you all those things, it's not really their responsibility. Although it would be great, don't get me wrong, to learn about taxes in school, which is what do you want to learn about taxes? You're going to give your taxes to your accountant? Like, I think learning the fundamentals of finance and money should just be like an overall requirement. It just helps a lot more. Just like learning algebra helps many people out.
People automatically think poor is in like the tangible poor, like financially poor.
Right.
But you can be poor in financial literacy as well. So this is why we have people who are doctors, lawyers, bankers, whatever the case may be, who have great salaries and are still living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I put in place for my children was, because I have a business, I write my children checks. So my children have earned income.
Word.
With that earned income, I have established custodial Roth IRAs for my children.
Okay.
My children already have...
So you guys are probably thinking what she's talking about, right? There is a standard deduction of $12,000 in America, right, for taxes. So if you make these checks to your kids, well, now they're employees, but because they make less than $12,000, they don't have to pay taxes on it. Then they're able to use that money to then basically have a custodial Roth IRA account. And now they have, for example, investment money. The problem with this is, and by the way, it sounds great, and it also benefits her and her business because basically it's a tax deduction. It sounds great. I don't want to shut anything down. But the problem is, like, who are your kids going to be when they're 18 and when they actually when you have to hand over that account to them? That's the main thing, That's why I love 529 accounts. I love like trusts because like there's regulations and so on, because you might be raising a kid with the best intentions, don't get me wrong, but you never know where someone is actually going to head. I like the Warren Buffett method, where you want to buy a business that is so good and so great that even a dummy can run it, because at some point in history, along the way, a dummy is going to run it. It's the same thing with family, right? Along the way, a dummy might get access to all that money and they might just basically hurt themselves. So these ideas are great, don't get me wrong, but you have to be very careful with all this, like giving your kids so much access to things that they don't earn. Very careful.
have retirement accounts
Okay.
at 13, 8, and 5.
Wow.
And so people are like, Wait, you can do that?
So, could you just say something? What is custodial Roth IRAs?
So a Roth IRA is basically like your retirement account, right? So you know that once
Post-tax.
you reach the age of retirement, you're able to pull out of
57.
it without penalty as long as you do it past a certain age.
A Roth is different. You can pull out your capital.
So most people don't start establishing that until after they have a job, and then that job is turning earned income.
Yep.
So you can position, like my 5-year-old right now, she's positioned to be a millionaire at 40 if she does nothing else with her life. And so how that works is my 5-year-old, whenever I do
So she has 3 kids.
photo shoots, she's a paid model. I write her a check for being in my photos. And so because I write that check and I deposit it into her account, it's proving that she has earned income, which allows me to gift her or to put money into her custodial Roth IRA. So my child is already working on her retirement account at 5.
That's pretty cool, huh?
That's how you introduce and change the culture. That's how you change generations. That's how you...
Well, not everybody has a business, right? Not everybody has a business. That's the thing with that. So how does a normal person do this? If you have, for example, like a standard job, you could create a company, ask your job to pay you on a 1099, or potentially just like there's a lot of different ways to do it. But just invest into a 529 account. It goes exactly towards, for example, education. Like the most important power in this generation is like in the world is like we live in a capitalist society. So in order to make money, there has to be an interchange, right? I mean, in service equals whatever you want. So career, get a career for your kid. So education is the most important part.
Expose generations, custodial Roth IRAs. I'm going to put a clear definition of what that is in the show descriptions because I think that's important for parents to be aware of it.
A custodial Roth IRA is a Roth IRA, but the custodial basically runs it. There's your definition.
As an option that's out there.
Yeah, because most people, I think we traditionally think of like maybe 529 accounts, which
Yes.
are college fund accounts. But
Absolutely.
with a custodial Roth IRA, that could be their first down payment on a home.
Yep,
They
yep.
could take that out for their education.
Yep.
So you have kind of more freedom in that space.
Yep.
But the main thing is you have to prove that they have earned income.
Yep.
More freedom. But who are those kids going to be? You know what I mean? Yo, people don't understand, man. Especially parents. I think her oldest is 13 years old, right? At around that age, around 13, that's when kids start to kind of like detach from like the parents and try to like create like their own space. You know what I mean? So it's very important you guide kids, but you never really know what we're individuals, you know. So even with like the best guidance ever, the best role models, you don't know where somebody's gonna end up. You know what I mean? So it's very important. You add limits to whatever you're doing. That's just my opinion.
And so I also want to take it back to another thing is like what we said, you can have where the systems are not put in place to where by the time you're an adult, you're already in debt.
Okay.
But you can also have the systems to where the parents did everything.
Yeah.
Because you do have it.
Yeah.
They set their children up with great credit by making them authorized users. They put the money aside, but they teach them nothing. So then they become an adult with great credit, have no understanding of it.
Yep.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like giving the kids everything, but don't give them the skills to actually manage anything. That's interesting, huh? It's like, I'm going to set up this business for my kid, but I never taught them how to manage it. It makes no sense.
And destroy it.
Yep.
And then they spend their entire life trying to rebuild something that was already put in place for them. So just as important as it is as putting the systems in place, it's equally, if not more important, on educating them because it does nothing to plant seeds in soil and forget to water it.
Interesting.
Plant seeds in soil and forget to water it. When you guys think about your finances,
Hey, what's going on here? Is this like a side? This is like a side thing?
AKA your money, do you get stressed? Do you get anxious? Do you feel like, hey, where do I start? How do
This is a nice studio.
I begin? What do I do? Well, check it. I totally get it because I remember being 18 years old, being a young man, living paycheck. I got some step guide on how to change, getting stuck 30 about most proof. Name is Raquel.
Oh, that was an ad, guys.
Yo, if y'all just now tuned in, it's your boy Anthony O'Neal. Welcome back to the table. Well, we got my girl, my sister, the bougie banker, AKA her legal name is Raquel.
That's it.
And we're having a real relevant and relatable conversation. We're talking about how do we shift the mindset. And I'm so excited to have her here because you said something that's so key. One of the things I'm focusing on with my team is, I teach the 7 baby steps here with Dave Ramsey. And so I've been saying, there has to be like a baby step 0. Dave hasn't approved this.
He's just
You know what I'm
saying.
saying? But there has
A
to be
crawl.
there has to be like a something before baby step one, because you said something earlier in the show that is so key. That you can budget. I can teach you all this stuff, but if you don't shift something over here first, if you don't shift that mind, if we don't give people the proper financial education, then
I think the shift happens with Dave is like the shift is like in your heart, right? When somebody says, for example, it sounds very corny, I know. But when somebody says like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's when the shift happens. That's baby steps 0 and away, right? Because that's when everything happens. Then you're just open to whatever it is that Dave's gonna offer you. I think that's the shift.
then all the practical things that we teach is out the door.
Right.
And that happened with me. I was selling cars, making 6 figures, but I didn't have a mindset shift. I didn't want to go homeless and be broke again, but I got my check. I never forget. I ain't never say this on my show before, but I never forget, got my first check. It was like $8,200. I'm
Nice.
like 23, 24 years old.
It's a lot of money.
Oh, you rich.
Oh, I was rich, right? Couldn't tell me
you rich?
nothing. And back then, the car dealerships, they didn't do automatic deposits. You got a check. They bought out the check on the floor, and boy, when I got that first check, I said, good God. I went down to the bank, and I'll never forget, a beautiful sister was behind the counter. She had to be about 21, 22 years old. I'm 23,
Oh, that's awesome.
24. I gave her that check. I said, yeah, can I get that cash, please?
Oh, with the deep voice.
With the deep voice.
Oh, okay,
Deep,
I got you.
deep voice. And she looked at that check, looked back up at me, looked down, looked back up at me, and I'm sitting there smiling like, that's right. You know what I'm saying?
This guy's funny.
She gave me my receipt, Raquel, and on the back of the receipt was her name and her phone number. She said, let's do dinner. I took her out to dinner that night and
Oh, you
dropped.
fell for it.
I fell for it.
Oh, okay.
He fell
Took
for
her out
it.
to dinner that night, gave her $600 in dinner.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. That's a lot of money, bro. That's a disgusting amount of money. Wow, $600 in dinner. The most I spent ever, like on food, and this is also like a disgusting amount, was $350. You're probably saying like, Tommy, that's a crazy amount of money. It's a disgusting amount of money. It is, but hear me out here. It was me, my fiance, my little sister, my mom, my aunt, and her husband. So in total, we have 6 people. That is, for example, $350 divided by 6 people. That's around like $58 per person, right? So it was a good experience. And I was like, I was kind of upset, but I was like, like this is a one-time thing. Hasn't happened ever since.
$600.
What y'all? Okay, y'all ate.
What y'all ate?
Steak.
Yeah.
I already know.
Listen. We had steak. We had all you can drink. We had a real good, expensive meal, and I laugh at it now because like, wow, I don't even know her name today. I
That's crazy.
just
huh?
remember the scenario, and I'm like, wow, how much money did I waste?
A lot. I wasted so much money too. I used to grab my first checks. I remember my first budget was on a piece of paper like this. It was actually yellow. I remember it. I don't know where it is. It has to be somewhere. And I wrote down how much money I made, how much money I spent. I wrote down also what my budget was. And I was like, okay, so I'm only limited to 2 sneakers per month. That was 2 sneakers per month. I have to save the rest, right? It was such a stupid budget, you know what I mean? But you got to start somewhere. It's a beautiful, finance is such a beautiful thing because where you start doesn't determine where you end. It's beautiful.
When I had the money, I was fearful, and I said, yo, I'm never going to go back and be homeless. I'm always going to make sure I have something in there. But here's the truth, Raquel.
He was homeless? I didn't know that about Antonio. When was he homeless? Because this was at 23. So he must have been homeless earlier in his life. That's some scary stuff, man. I've never been homeless. I have jumped around from house to house. Whether it's my aunt received me, my grandfather received me. I've had to go through that. I've had to sleep, for example, literally in like a closet space, in like a little corner, with my mom basically on the floor. I've gone through those things, but I've never been homeless, and I'm very thankful for that. That's a whole different experience.
I had all this money, but I didn't have a mindset change. I was living 15th to the 15th because the dealership only gets paid on in between the 12th and the 15th. And so by the time the next fat check was coming around, I'm sitting there waiting, like, yo, where's the money? Where's the money?
How crazy is that? That somebody can go from basically making nothing to making more, and then basically it's called Parkinson's law, by the way. There's a name for it. Parkinson's law basically means that the amount, not to say like it's a money thing, but it's kind of like your expenses go up by your income. So as you make more money, so do your expenses keep rising. It's a very frugal skill to make more money and to keep things the same. You know, it's a very special thing.
Because I didn't have a mindset shift. And so that's when I took Financial Peace University. And good God Almighty, it didn't just shift my mind, but it also even shift my money as well.
That is awesome. And that is the end of that episode. And that is the end of my review. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go, guys, here. And I'm actually going to give this video a like. You know, as you guys know, when I like something, I like it. So I actually go to the channel, the video. I like it. I'm not subscribed to Anthony O'Neill's channel. After that video, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe. It's a pretty good video. And I'm going to turn notifications on. So there you go, Anthony. Congratulations. You got me as a subscriber. Overall, though, great video. Great video. Great video. Unless you change this, you'll stay broke. Change what? I don't know. You know, it sounds like what they just gave you was like a few things to kind of like help your kids. And also, for example, like just change your mindset. I guess that's what the video about. But I had a great experience with it, so that's awesome. Comment down below, guys. Let me know, do you like these videos? Do you not like them? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you want me to basically react to? Okay, give me some ideas in the comments down below. I don't know what happened to my voice. I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. Send me a DM on Instagram at Tiny Bryson, or just give me a call. The link is down below for free. You can actually call me. On top of that, here's more content here. Go like these videos, support the channel, and here's more channels. Subscribe to those channels too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace. Long-term team for the win.